Hi, I'm MITEECSMan, and welcome to this course orientation for CSC 142, an Introduction to Programming. This is a full college level course being taught at one of the Seattle area colleges, but it's also being offered to you on YouTube for the most part. First, let me explain who I am. So I have a Bachelor's of Science degree from MIT in Electrical Engineering and Computer Science, and I won the thesis prize in computer science for an online education tool, which is one of the reasons why I came back to online education eventually. I also have a Stanford degree, master's degree in computer science, and then I spent many years at Microsoft. I was first a software development engineer, so I was a programmer, and then I was a development manager, which means I was in charge of all the programmers, and then I was a group manager, which meant that I was in charge of the people who designed the programs, people who programmed them, the testers, the localizers, the user education, all those people that were responsible for producing a product. And then finally, I was a technical evangelist, which is a combination of marketing and development skills. So after I retired from Microsoft, then I did a lot of stuff on YouTube, and I managed to amass 3 million views on various electrical engineering topics with my channel MITEECSMan. And then I decided I wanted to get back to teaching, so I took a job as an adjunct professor of computer science at a Seattle area college, where I've decided to teach online only because I really wanted to build up my skills to be able to teach a course on YouTube effectively. And now I've created this channel for MITEECSMan, which is devoted strictly to computer science education. So many people ask, why am I offering this course? Aren't there so many other resources out there on the internet for computer science? Well, there are, but not like this. So what I found when I looked around was that you, of course, got YouTube, but most of the YouTube videos are random. If you have a very specific question, you can find things, but some of those videos are great, some of those videos are terrible, and that's general true about YouTube. But YouTube does have a lot of very good channels with people who really understand their stuff, and that's why I decided to add my channel. There are also MOOCs offered by MIT, Stanford, Harvard. These are all great courses. I've taken some of them, and I'm very impressed that they use the same professors that I had when I was at MIT, and they use the same material. But the problem is that even in week 1 or week 2, they're already challenging students to do materials that we'd never even get to at the end of 2 quarters worth of computer science programming. So it's great in that it is a very high level course. It really is similar to something you might take at MIT, Stanford, or Harvard. The problem is that most people are not up to that task, and they don't tailor their education to people who are more like the average student at on YouTube. Actually, my experience at a traditionally community college, a 2-year college, is great because those students are exactly the kind of people that are also going to be watching things on YouTube. So I think I've tailored it to your audience. And finally, there's things like Khan Academy, co.org. The problem with those are they are an inch deep and a mile wide. So they give you 1 problem or 2 problems on how to write a for loop or how to do a while loop, but they don't really teach you how to program. They never really challenge you. It's just a taste of programming. So this course, what sets it apart? It's a full college level course. It's literally the course that you would get if you signed up for the college course. It is tailored towards first-time programmers. So if you are a person out in industry and you don't have time to take a college course, then you can watch this program. We don't assume that you have any experience in programming. When we offer it in the community college, we do require 1 course before it that is Python-based, just to get, again, a taste of programming. But really, I'm not assuming that you know very much from that. And then what definitely sets this course apart is we offer the book with online access, very inexpensive. I offer all the lectures. We offer problems through the author's free online tool. It's a complete education, minus a few things, which I'll get to in a minute. And my goal is to create industry talent. If you go to MIT or Stanford, for example, they assume that you are the very best, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to create someone who can be a professor of computer science. If you go to Khan Academy, they're just trying to give you a little taste of programming. For most 2-year colleges, when you take the introductory programming course, again, they want to give you a little more than a taste. They want you to be able to program some stuff, but they don't take it seriously. about actually preparing students for the industry. My goal is to create industry talent. I'm going to teach you nothing that you don't need to know and everything that you do. By the time you're done with my course, you will be ready to apply for at least an internship and should be able to actually do some real programming. So let me talk about CSC 142, which is this is the orientation for, and 143, and why I chose to teach it. So 142, 143 are University of Washington curriculum. This course, or a slight variant of it, is taught at all Washington State colleges. And nationwide, you can find the same intro to programming courses. They're typically like a CS1 and a CS2, one of them with just basic programming, the second one with data structures. We use the book Building Java Programs by Stuart Regis and Marty Stepp, version 4, and I'll get more about that in a minute. And the great thing is the online edition is available for just $35 for 180 days. So you can immediately get it right now after you're watching this video, and you can immediately start getting to work doing programming. So let's talk more about that book, Building Java Programs. The authors are Stuart Regis and Marty Stepp, both of whom used to be at Stanford, and now Stuart Regis teaches at the University of Washington. Stuart Regis really revamped the computer science education at the University of Washington, and I remember when I was at Microsoft, we didn't get very many good people from University of Washington. There were definitely some good people. I worked very closely with some, and they're very smart people, but in general, the program wasn't producing a lot. But since then, I think I'd have to attribute at least some of it to Marty Stepp and Stuart Regis of revamping that curriculum. It's been based on a lot of student feedback, and they've had much higher retention rates and much higher grades in their programs. And I got to tell you, the University of Washington graduates are highly successful. You can, if you are a graduate from the CS department, your job offers are just thrown at you left and right. Everybody wants to hire you. But talking more about the book. To be honest, when I first read the book, I thought it was not a very good book, and a lot of people have that reaction. And one of the reasons why is because it's a very unique style. They actually show you the wrong way to do things first, which is very unusual again. You don't find many books that do that. But the more I teach with it, the more I appreciate the style, because time and time again, each quarter, I see students making the exact same problems every single time, or mistakes every single time. And so it actually makes a lot of sense to, before you have the students go ahead and write that piece of code, tell them, okay, this is what a lot of students will do wrong. And that really does save a lot of mistakes. And on an online course where I don't get a chance to really work with you one-on-one, that helps tremendously. So I actually think it's a great book. Highly recommended, and for my course, you really need the book. You absolutely have to have the book, okay? Because there's a free PracticeIt online tool that lets you do the book problems, and many of the book problems are tailored to information that's conveyed in the book. So if you try to use a different book with PracticeIt, and people have tried, you will fail. It's not going to work. There's going to be a lot of questions about, I don't get, how are you supposed to do this? Well, if you had read chapter 1.3, you would understand. So it's really important to get the Building Java Programs book. It's a good book. A lot of work has gone into it. A lot of great work has gone into the PracticeIt tool. So really, you want to get that book. It's also available for rent on Amazon.com for about $25. It's at certain times of the year. It can go for a lot more than that. And version 3 is fine. Version 4 is better. And if you're buying it, getting the online tool, it's only like $5 different to get version 4. So let's talk more about what is the difference between taking this course on YouTube versus actually coming to my college course, which is offered online only. So the overall curriculum is the same. We use Building Java Programs, and it's approximately a 10-week course. In my college, they're typically 11 or 12 weeks. Book problems are available both to my online students and you. This website, practiceitcs.washington.edu, anybody can go up there and create a free account. However, if you take it with my course, I can actually observe what you're doing, follow your progress, give you feedback. I can see your code. I can see all sorts of things about how you're creating the code. And so it's a much more holistic experience if you take it with the college. Homeworks are available through the college only. I do give you some introductory information on YouTube about what I'm trying to do, but there's just too much information to convey on YouTube. So you don't get that experience, which is a big part of the experience. I would say just doing the book problems, you can learn to program, but they are just very small snippets of programs, whereas the homeworks are multi-week programs that really challenge you. I offer video conferences on my college classes. So every week I offer a 1-hour online video conference. Some quarters I offer twice a week, some quarters once a week. And that gives you a great opportunity to really reinforce what you've learned. I ask you to demonstrate your skills. I help understand things that you don't understand. You learn from other students in the class, so it's another great thing that's not going to be available to you on YouTube. And of course, quizzes are available in the college only. Sometimes I'll give you some prep sessions on YouTube. And then of course the final exam is only available through the college course, and of course the accredited transcript is only available on college. So I expect the people following along on YouTube, you could be anywhere in the planet, and this is going to be a great opportunity for you. Strictly online, you'll be able to read the book, you'll be able to do the problems, you'll be able to watch my lectures to help understand. What you aren't going to get is my one-on-one services to really be able to understand what's going wrong, why doesn't this work, for example. So let's talk more about this week. Chapter 1, Introduction to Java. So in the book, you're going to be learning some basic computer science concepts. You're going to be using the simplest of all statements, just how to print out a line in Java. You're going to be learning about some common errors and how to debug them. Probably the most important thing that you'll learn in week 1 is what we call procedural decomposition. So given a problem like draw out an image of the Space Needle in ASCII characters, you can figure out how do you break that problem down and achieve that goal. Let's talk about the YouTube videos that I've created for you this week. So each week you will find a playlist. If you go to my channel, you can find CSC 142 Week 1, and it contains a list of all these videos. Just click on the playlist and you'll be able to watch them one by one. Why Details Matter is an interesting video. I created this video after seeing many students have difficulties with following details, which I thought were quite clear and we expect in the industry. And so I realized there was a big disconnect between what students are used to and what the industry expects. So I created this video to, at first, just explain why those details matter in the industry. And then I elaborated out into showing what kind of problems can happen if you don't pay attention to details, and maybe most importantly, I tell you a full range of all the jobs at Microsoft, and when I was there at least, and because not everybody is going to be a programmer, I understand that, but almost everybody does need to learn some level of programming. So there are a lot of other jobs besides programmers that you can do. This course is still going to be applicable for all of them. So each week I'll provide you with a lecture on the Building Java Programs chapter, which roughly follows the contents of the chapter. And then I'm going, this week only, I've given you a PracticeIt setup and use. So I show you how to log on to the website, create your own account. You won't be taking it with my college, but that's an option for people who use it in college. And then I'm going to be giving you a walkthrough of the problems that I'm going to assign in Chapter 1. If you look at my notes at in the comment section, you will find the complete list of problems that I suggest you do from Chapter 1 and for every chapter. And so that you can do those PracticeIt problems. PracticeIt will give you feedback as to what you're doing wrong, and it'll tell you whether you got the problem right or not. So it's a really great tool. I think it's one of the best parts of this online education that I'm offering you. I've got a video on Introduction to Debugging Nested Loops, which is really about Eclipse. And Eclipse is the IDE or development environment that I use at my college. There are many other IDEs, and it doesn't really matter which one, since I'm not going to be helping and working with you one-on-one. But there's a couple videos here on how to install the Java JDK and get Eclipse. And this will help you use Eclipse and show you how you can use the debugger and do some very simple programming. And Eclipse is for my homework assignments. And you don't actually need Eclipse to do the PracticeIt problems, but you might decide to try some of the homework problems on your own. I should mention that since even though I'm not assigning you homework problems through YouTube, there are programming problems at the back of every chapter, which are similar to my homework. In fact, the chapter 1 homework problem actually is in the book. It's the Space Needle problem. I think it's the only one that I use out of the book. The rest I've created on my own. But you can always go to the back of every chapter and pick a homework programming problem to do from there, and that will be, at least a pretty good replacement for doing the homeworks with me. Finally, let's take a look at what's going on in the next week. So for chapter 2, you'll be learning about primitive data, which this kind of sounds like a bad name, but that just means simple data types, integers, strings, floating point, things like that, and definite loops, which simply means the for loop, okay, really. So you're going to be learning all about that next week. So I hope you watch my playlist for week 1 and do the practice hits, and then come back in week 2 and we'll get on to these tasks here.